Hello everyone, Pistol Crossbow fan here. Just before I get started with this video, just like to say and hope and wish that you're all staying well and keeping safe with this flipping virus. Anyhow, on with the video. As you probably know by now, I'm a big fan of pistol crossbows, hence the name of my YouTube channel. Particularly the Horizone Redback, which is 3 versions that you see in front of you. I'm the sort of person that can't leave anything when I buy it as standard. I always have to fiddle about with stuff, and that's how I've ended up with 3 different versions of these at present. So we've got a long range one with a 4 times magnification scope. We've got a short range tactical one with a red dot sight and a laser, amongst other things. And this was my latest build, which is a fishing version, but you can see all of these with my earlier videos that I've posted on YouTube. I just thought I'd talk today about modifications that I've made to bolts for those crossbows. And so we're going to start at this end. A couple of tubes that I made for some of the bolts, and I got the idea pinched directly from Tumbo 1984, as I've mentioned before, and they're just those postage tubes that you can post documents and things in. And all I've done is put a couple of end caps, which are basically aerosol can caps, over the top, and then covered it all with electrical tape. Anyhow, these are the bolts that you get as standard when you buy the pistol crossbow. I think you get 3, if I remember rightly, with each one. So not content with just a total of 9, I bought quite a few more. I think I got about 60 in total. They're all right. They fly reasonably well. They're quite light, so they're quite quick. That's it, just a standard bolt. Most of you probably, when you're fed up using just those, will go on to something like this. They come in either gold or green zombie versions. So this is the green one, obviously, with a removable tip. So I was content with just using those to start with, until I decided that I'd muck about, take the tip off, and then do all sorts of things with bits inserted in the end, basically. So my first attempt was these ones. That's the gold coloured bolts. Unscrew the end and insert a 5-inch, I think it was, nail in the end. And as you can see, the tips on them are very sort of bodkin shaped, but I have shown these in an earlier video, so you can see a bit more about them. Anyhow, the next progression from there, using these same gold coloured bolts, was to make some fishing bolts out of the same blanks, as it were, using these that I bought from China. I got 12 of them, I think, in the end. And the beauty of it is, if you don't want to use it as a fishing bolt, you can unscrew the tip, take off the little barb, so you're just left with a really nice weighted, very sharp bolt, which would do some damage, I'm sure, if you know what I mean. Yeah, this is a different variation of the fishing bolt, showing it set up with the line that you can then attach via a swivel to the swivel on the end of the fishing reel line. These next ones, same end on them as these, but I made these a little while ago, as you've probably seen on a video, out of brass tubing, when I was so fed up waiting for the carbon fibre blanks that I'd ordered from China on eBay, which eventually turned up, by the way, and are completely useless. So useless in the fact that the inside diameter of them isn't big enough to insert the broadheads that I was going to build some arrows with. Not to be able to screw them in so they could be taken off again. So I just made a couple up, just using some old points that I had, just for fun really. Right, moving on. We've got a few of these. I don't know where I got these tubes from, but I stuck some fletchings on and then directly mounted some very small but light broadheads on the end. I haven't tried those out. I haven't got too many high hopes for flight characteristics because they're well, they don't look the most aerodynamic things. Still, I'll give them a go one day. Right, moving on, we've got these, which again have appeared in a previous video. These are very expensive bolts from the USA, made by a company called Jaxi. I've got a dozen of them in total, and as you can see, you can either use them just with the standard field tips that they come with, or get yourself some broadheads and they screw in because they're normal AMO threaded ends to them. You can thread in some broadheads of choice. Right, well, talking of broadheads, I've ordered some, 3 different kinds, which I've ordered from Amazon and hopefully will be here within the next few days. 2 bladed ones as opposed to 3 blade, and I've done that because, having read a comment on one of Weapon Collector's recent videos about some broadheads that he had made cheaply. I always like to read the comments underneath because I like his channel, and somebody had commented that as far as they were aware, the bolts that you can buy for the EK Archery Cobra R9 crossbow, which is these, as you can see, I've bought some, fit diameter wise into these Horizone Redbacks. So I thought, ooh, I'll give those a go. They look very nice. I could just take the tips out and then put some broadheads and things in there, 2 bladed ones. And I can tell you quite definitely that they don't fit. They're too fat. In fact, I ended up damaging one quite badly in my attempts to get it to fit underneath where the sight goes in this, where are we, in this gap there. They just do not fit. So I was left with 10 of these bolts, which cost about 20 quid. But I really liked the look of them. I liked the design. I like the fact that they're lightweight. The fletchings seem to be glued on there like they're never going to come off. So I bit the bullet and rather be left with, this might seem a bit strange, but rather than be left with a dozen or so bolts that I wasn't going to use, I went ahead and ordered myself one of these. Let's see if I can do this. Right, so it is still a pistol crossbow. It's made by EK Archery. I think I bought this particular one from a company that normally does guns in this country, called Uttings, and they seem to have some of these in stock still, whereas most people had run out completely. I went for the deluxe version, which came with the rear stock, a hologram sight. What else did it have? It's got a £90 prod on it, although you can buy as an optional extra 110 or £130 prods, which I may do at some later date. A sling. I didn't get the bag with it, I bought that separately. That was about 25 quid. So yeah, I've got everything I need. What I'm going to do now is pause this video and then take it all out the bag. You can see how it fits in the bag. Then I'll pause it again and I'll build it. So I'll see you in a second. Right, so here's what it all looks like when it's actually taken out of its individual pouches in the bag. There's your £90 prod, pre-strung, so no mucking about. There's your stock M4 style, adjustable. And there's the main body of the crossbow, and that's essentially it. So give me another couple of minutes and I'll put the thing together and I'll let you have a look. So here we are, didn't take long at all. Here is what it looks like when it's all put together. Without the rear end on it, it's actually only about 2 inches longer than my Horizone Redbacks, so that's quite nice. I'm not going to go into the operation of it because there are plenty of videos on YouTube already about the Cobra R9 from EK Archery, or you can actually get a repeating version which is called the Cobra Adder repeating crossbow, which to my mind, well, I'm not a big fan of gimmicks, and I think that is a bit gimmicky, to be honest, but if you want one, fair enough. I like simplicity. Yeah, so that's it. The only thing I would say is it only takes bolts of 7.6mm diameter, which is an archery arrow diameter. So if you want to have a go at building your own, you need some arrows, proper arrows, chop them down and then put your own nocks and whatever you choose on the other end onto them. I ended up with about 50 of these in the end. It cost me a fortune. And then made from neoprene a couple of little carrying pouches with straps on so I can put them on my belt. I've kitted this one out. This doesn't come as standard, but with a light, same as you've got on my other ones. Just mounted via a spare sports match mount that I had lying around. Also, I had one of these kicking about, which is a bipod, so I've replaced the foregrip, just a straight up and down foregrip, with this bipod, so that's quite nice. And different red dot sight, because the other one was so flimsy or horrible, I just didn't see how that was going to be accurate, and put my trademarked spirit level on the back, bubble level, for accuracy. And also use the sling that you get with it, which is like an over the shoulder, almost like a 3-point sling. Use the bits off of that, or cut it up essentially, and use the bits to make a quick release. So with buckles at either end, so it can be unclipped at either end. And then I was able to use my, as you know by now, favourite sling, which is the Quake Claw. because it's so grippy. So yeah, so this is all ready to go, and as soon as the weather is a bit better and I've got someone that can do some filming for me, I'm going to go and have a go with it. But that's it for now, so hope you've enjoyed this. As I say, if you want to get one, I think it was about 180 quid for the deluxe version, and that was a company called Uttings online, and they deliver it straight to your door within a few days. That's it. See you soon.